In this video, we'll talk about how STOL pilots go about making such short landings and how you as a pilot can confidently land on shorter strips using spot landing techniques. Short field landings start with knowing where your airplane is going to touch down and then consistently being able to touch down where you want the airplane to touch down. This is important for any pilot as all of your landing data is based on the pilot's ability to touch down on a spot. We were taught this during our primary training, but many pilots have become complacent when choosing a landing point. Over time, we start aiming for the runway instead of a spot. We become reliant on PAPIs and VASIs for glide slope stabilization, and if glide path guidance isn't available, landings become inconsistent. While spot landing procedures are important for all short takeoff and landing STOL operations, spot landing performance is important for any pilot. First step is learning how to spot land not short of, but within an airplane's length of your desired touchdown point. This makes sense since any landing distance you land past your intended point of touchdown cannot be used for braking and is added to your landing distance. If you want to land on short runways or landing areas, touching down on spot is paramount. If you're not going to land on your landing spot and a go-around is possible, this is the correct choice. If a go-around is not possible, you'll be forced to continue with the poor results being a possibility. People who attempt go-arounds on non-go-around runways almost always end up with a much worse result than continuing the landing and accepting the consequences. The first step in landing consistently on spot is picking an aim point and being able to keep the aircraft descending to that point while on final and fully configured. You'll know the point the aircraft is descending to if that point is not moving on the windscreen. When choosing a point, it needs to be a point and not an area. You don't aim for the numbers. You aim for the top of the numbers. That line, that point. If you aim small, you miss small. If you aim big, you miss big. You can make a mark on the windscreen at first to help you perceive that that spot is moving towards you or away from you. In the past, pilots have used bug spots on the screen to help. If the spot is moving toward the top of the windshield, make a correction quickly. You do this by adding a small amount of power to stop that movement. On the opposite side, if the spot is moving toward the bottom of the windscreen, make a small power reduction. The key here is to make small adjustments early and often. You want a stable approach to the point. You want to make few, if any, pitch adjustments. Adjusting the pitch will cause a large airspeed change, and a consistent airspeed is important. Starting the round out at the same airspeed is necessary, as you'll be bleeding off excess airspeed in the round out and flare. Any speed changes or differences will result in an inconsistent touchdown point in relation to your aim point. Once you reach the standard round out position in your landing, make a standard round out and flare. Pay close attention to where the wheels touch down in relation to that aim point. Do this multiple times in a row, making no changes to your aim point. Keep noting where your touchdown point is in relation to your aim point. Over many landings, you'll get an idea of how this aim point relationship works. Once you understand how your aim point relates to your touchdown point, you simply adjust your aim point so your touchdown point will be where you want. Say your touchdown point is normally a half a runway stripe beyond your aim point. You would then aim half a touchdown stripe in front of where you want to touch down. Keep in mind that different conditions will result in a difference between your aim point and touchdown point. A day with strong winds will be different than a day with no winds. Overall, I think it's best to start this spot landing drill on a calm wind day. Also, once you become good at a stabilized approach and speed to your aim point, it's good to recheck your aim point to touchdown point reference once in a while. If you choose a precise aim point for every landing, you'll soon have an intuition for where your airplane is going to touch down. Over time, if you keep practicing this procedure, you'll be amazed at how accurate your spot landings will become. You will be the winner at the spot landing contest at all the fly-ins you attend. A side effect of a good spot landing is the pilot's landings would seem to become substantially shorter because of how consistent your landings are. To make a spot landing into a good short field landing, you need to apply short field techniques to the spot landing. This will be covered in the next video. Learning how to spot land not short of but within an airplane's length of your desired touchdown point is important for anyone who's performing STOL operations. It's because our landing calculations are based on the pilot being able to land on point.